afternoon for the winners that are here yet. So my name is Lucas, as Charles told. I'm from Brazil, and I'm here to talk what we are doing regarding the WRO activities. Well, I will try to tell you, how this concept is being created, circular bioeconomy. I saw several speakers talking about circularity, bioeconomy, circular economy, and then we have to design, to specify exactly what this concept is about. So to do it, I divided my presentation in 5 topics. Very briefly, I will talk about rendering sustainability, then global policymaking framework. I have to tell you how each countries do their own policies. Then I will address exactly what is circular bioeconomy. That's a new concept that FIO is designing. Then how this carbon allocation, this new method, will influence our own metrics. Then I will tell you about what I see about challenges and opportunities. So, rendering and sustainability, quick overview. Well, our friends from Europe, they did this awesome job. As Charles mentioned, US is doing the same. They calculated the carbon footprint, the LCA, the life cycle analysis of rendered product, and they compared with other product. This data is at a global database called oh my goodness, what's the name, Charles, of the global database? GFLI. Thank you so much. So it's under GFLI. It means that it was compared and proved by peer reviewers, and several players do respect this number. Actually, this is the most respectful database for life cycle analysis. So we have, by existing, we just not lower carbon footprint. Maybe our major action is recycling nutrients. I did some calculations regarding Brazil, how much we recycled, about 550,000 tons of the calcium phosphate. Yeah, meat and bone meal is rich on phosphorus. And this is the amount we recycle yearly in Brazil. We also recycle about 1.9 million tons of pure protein and 32.5 billion kilocalories a year in nutrients. Let's suppose that we use 100% of our production in poultry nutrition, as poultry feed. What does it mean? To replace it, we would have to crop 2.4 million tons of corn, 4.6 million tons of soybean meal, just to replace the amount that we render yearly. It means 2.1 million hectares and 900,000 tons of NPQ. We are saving it. It's not being produced. We are saving lands. We are lowering what they say, land use change. We are saving. Another very known topic is that we avoid landfill. In US, 25 billion kilos, and in Brazil, 13 million tons, or 13 billion kilos. I mean, in Brazil, it represents about 30% of all city waste produced or collected yearly. It's not a minor. If we put it per capita, in Australia, they render about 100 kilos of byproduct or raw material per capita. In US, is about 76 kilo of byproduct rendered per capita, and in Brazil is about 61 kilo per person that lives in our country. Render are doing that for you, and we not even have an idea about it. So, as been told, our tissue is water. 70% of the muscle is water, 90% of the blood is water, 30% of the bone is water. When you render, we are reclaiming water, the water is boiled out, then we condense the water, we treat the water, and we release it. We can use it for wash trucks or whatever, to garden, but actually at the end of the day, this purified water is sent back to nature. And okay, this is what we are doing. I promised it was quick, but now I have to explain you how the global policymaking framework works. It's very important to understand how countries do their own regulation and how United Nations, FAO, IPCC, drives or indicates the way that countries must do their own regulation. So, crystal clear. Countries, maybe like in US states, do the regulation. There is no international law so far that's applicable for every country. No, this hope not never exist, but so far, countries, it's up to the country. And what are the major actors? United Nations, FAO, GLIM, LEAP, society, academia, and IPCC. Let's address one of it. What is United Nations? At the end of the Second World War, here in US, San Francisco, 1994, 50 countries joined together. They created United Nations for what? To promote global stability and cooperation, as primary objective was to maintain international peace and security. This is what UN was created about. But after Rio Earth Summit in 1992 and Kyoto Protocol in 1997, another goal was added: support sustainable development and climate action. So this is officially, since 2015, a United Nations goal. It's new on the United Nations goal. And what they did, they created the Agenda 2030. If you're not aware what UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, are, you'd better to pay attention on that. It's a lot of, I can tell that the vast majority of climate actions that countries are adopting comes from this agenda. Okay, so you better understand the 17 goals, and then each goal has about 10 targets, so you can divide your actions under goals and targets, but they are joined together, focusing on a more sustainable world under UN perspective. Not just that, we have FAO, the Food and Agricultural Organization, which the goals is very known, it's the same, to supply, to guarantee that everyone has access to sufficient and high quality food, promoting health and productive life for all individuals. So this is the FAO goal. And inside the FAO, we have two groups. One is GLIM, and the other is LEAP. LEAP is the technical group that develops the methodology to address the environmental emissions, or they support the evidence-based policies and business strategies. So they create the tools. What is GLIM? GLIM is the first group inside FAO that evaluate the emissions, the environmental impacts of every livestock activity. Okay? They do the assessment. And what is the history of FAO regarding emissions? I don't know if all of you is aware of this publication. I advise you to go there, understand what is this. And I can tell you that unfortunately it became with a very controversial report. The name of it is just by the name, you can guess what it's about. Livestock Long Shadow. It was published by a group that no longer exists. If you go to their website, it is on sale. You can buy their address, called LEAD, L-E-A-D, not P. And this report was heavily criticized because heavily criticized livestock in special ruminant. All that saying that the ruminant methane is going to warm the globe comes from this report. Understanding what they have done, FIO start working. They created a new group called GLIM in 2010. Then they launched the first report in 2013. And then they realized we don't have a proper tool. We don't know how to evaluate. The uncertainty over these numbers are too high. We must lower this number. We must have a better precision to have this number published. Then they create LEAP. LEAP is the one that gives the base that grounds the GLIM numbers. So they launched several guidances for you to calculate and to better mitigate and to better address emissions. So they started in 2016, 18, 19. On 19, they launched the GLIM 2. Then they published in 2020 the guidance of biodiversity and feed additives. And they launched in 2023 the GLIM 3. Then we have a huge window of 4 years with no publication. Why? What is the major issue regarding livestock? Methane. And now they publish on November this guidance. It took 4 years of discussion to understand that what is the methane produced by the cattle? Is CO2 from atmosphere that the photosynthesis grabs as carbohydrate that fermented in the rumen, part as energy for the cattle, part as methane, go back to atmosphere after 20 years. 20 years. It's CO2 again. It naturally oxidizes back to the same CO2 that the plant will again absorb and do the cycle. Where is the warming? Where is the input of heat in our heat capacity in our atmosphere? It's a natural cycle that exists for millennia. It's not new, absolutely not new. So the point is it biomethane or not? So this guidance can be the first changing on, are we so bad? Are livestock so bad to climate change? Not just that, then we have to understand that there is the IPCC. IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It's a United Nations body founded in 1988 that evaluates climate change. They don't do research, but they do congregate scientists, academia, and society for driving the policy making to give access to governments to create their own policies. And this is how it is. And they launched also guidances on climate change. So countries, yes, so countries, they have their own, they do their policies following UN numbers, IPCC, guidances, their society and their academia. This is the major picture for you to understand how each country, so if the society pressures too much, sure, politicians do their own policies. If academia don't open the mouth, do not defend science, who's gonna win? So it's a part of the game, academia being active to defend real science, okay? So, first to have an idea, why it's so important to understand and be updated with what's happening. Well, this is the number when you compare life cycle long shadow, and this is the livestock emissions over 2006 report, and this is the latest IPCC report. Here we was 14% of global emissions. Livestock were 14%. Now we are 5 point something, 5.7%. But it's not all. This number is not included yet, for sure, the new report of LEAP. When you see the report, methane will change a lot. Livestock or cattle methane, biomethane, will not be so warm for global warming because it's biological. If it's a methane for fossil fuel combustion, then it's different because at the end of when the methane is oxidized, it's a new CO2 at the atmosphere, which is not the case of the biomethane, okay? But I bring this information. This is the IPCC share of emissions. First, the major is industry. Then is this refining and fugitive emissions from coal, petroleum, 7.1. 6.5 is heating houses in your country, cooling down houses in our countries. Yes, we are bigger than livestock just to have a good life. Then comes in buildings, offices, transport, road, and 3% is planes, ships, everything. Then comes land use chain and forestry, with the contractual LULUCF. Then again, the livestock and other agriculture. If we take the first livestock long shadow report, it would represent 8.3 gigatons per year. We would be the second biggest, livestock alone would be the second biggest emission, which is not the case. We are here. I wonder if the pressure we are having today would be the same if this number would be published back that time. And it's not all. When you read the IPCC report, and I advise you to read the IPCC report, from all this chunk, from industry to transport, the confidence is high to very high. When you look, land use chain is land use chain is low confidence, and agriculture is medium confidence. Medium confidence is 50% uncertainty, 50. So we can be 3.5, we can be 1.6, 1.7. So what is the number? And we can be higher also. What is the number? Lots of uncertainty yet. But I'm here to talk about circular bioeconomy. How LEAP is leading the way to shaping the concept. So far, there is no country with regulation over circular bioeconomy. It's completely new actor, completely new concept. Let me try to bring you this concept. Well, what is I'm quoting the manual. It's not published yet. It was supposed to be published when Charles invited me to be here. I was, no, nice, because it's going to be published by November, maybe December. Didn't happen. They are telling that's going to be published by February, March. It happens, but that's why I'm not with the full version or final version of it. So sorry for that, but this is what we have today. When you read the public review that they gave us to review, we read every letter. Livestock play an important role in the circular bioeconomy as they enable the upcycling of agricultural products that cannot be consumed by humans into valuable nutritional food. Then, as we've heard today, bioeconomy. What is bioeconomy? This is exactly as it is at the manual. Use of biomass for food, feed, biorefineries, and cascading. If you are at the bioeconomy, it's not systematically circular. If you are circular economy, it's production of product services limiting consumption of primary material while limiting waste. But this is not limited to biomass. What is circular bioeconomy? Is exactly the junction of the two: waste reduction and recycling biomass through feeding livestock. So when we see the definition of circular bioeconomy is the production, utilization, and conservation of biological resources to provide products and services across all economic sectors based on the avoidance, prevention of raw material use, reduction of waste, reuse and recycling biomass material. Beautiful. I take the opportunity also to address more 4 items of the glossary of the manual. There is a lot of talking. Are we recycling residues? Are we recycling byproducts? Are we recycling co-products? First time, it's going to be very clear what we do on our daily basis. Residual is any material without economic value, leaving the product system in the condition as it's created in the process. If there is value, it's considered byproduct. Byproduct is a material produced during the processing, including slaughtering of a livestock or crop or product that is not the primary product of the activity. Pay attention in this. If you are producing meat, what is your main product? The meat. The intestines, the byproduct, it is no longer a product and it's not a co-product. What is the animal-based product? It's all co-products from livestock production, such meat, dairy, fiber, like wool, or fish or egg. This is the product. And what is the co-product? Any 1 or 2 products coming from the unit process. So, driver. And in the manual, sorry for that, but it is as the fluxogram is stated in the manual. We are here, render. The slaughterhouse raw material can be a leather, can be a leather that go to, a skin that goes to a leather facility. It can be a bone that goes to chondroitin facility. These are co-products. If the residue or the bone comes to us, then it becomes a byproduct that comes to rendering. If we collect the residue of a meat shop, then it's a residue. If we collect the leftovers of a gelatin industry, then it's a residue. So we can render both byproduct and residue according with the allocation, according with the origin of the raw material. Okay. So this is what we do. We are circular if it goes back to animal. If it didn't go back to animal, it's not circular bioeconomy. It's it's bioeconomy, but it's not fulfill the concept of circular bioeconomy because it did not turns back as food in any time. Nobody render a dog or cat. Nobody. If I sell to biodiesel, it's a low carbon intensity, sure, but it's not circular bioeconomy. It's an end user. Okay. So this is the beauty about this guidance. It will bring a completely different approach over the carbon calculation or CO2 emissions calculation. I will, sorry for that, but I have to go by quota of the manual. Of the feed consumed by livestock, 86% estimated to be unsuitable as food for human. You think that somebody can live over grassing a field? Nope. Grassing, if you are raising a cattle, it's grass. It's not food. There is no competition. It's a lot of land that where you raise your cattle is not suitable to have a corn plantation. It's not because it's too rocky, because it's too hilly or whatever. Because it needs water, there is no, it's a semi-arid area, you cannot crop there. So is it not sustainable? Yes, it's very sustainable. We are not competing with food. Nevertheless, we are producing food. Okay? Under circular paradigm, feed competition dynamics are reduced, while livestock system based on recycling residual streams from food, feed production, and bio-based industry are promoted. This is the idea of this manual. We are going to promote circularity. If the allocation would be based on same human edible food, this share between the products changes. If only oil is human edible, it would receive 100% of the environmental impact. What they're telling? They're telling this. You crop sunflower seed. Super. Nobody would crop sunflower seed due to the demand of sunflower meal. Forget it. You're just going to crop sunflower seed if there is a demand for sunflower oil. Never vice versa. Our reality, nobody will produce a broiler due to a high demand of feather meal. Forget it. No one will gonna do it. Okay? So nowadays, the allocation is economical. 88% comes to the oil, 12% to the meal, and 0 to hulls. If the concept of circular allocation rise up, accordingly with the use of the product, the allocation will be 0. And what is the use of the product? They're gonna advise to shift from life cycle analysis, as we heard today, to consequential life cycle analysis. It's a new way to measure. It's much more close to our reality. It's much more close to, and when I mean our reality, I'm not talking about rendering. I'm talking about animal feeding as a total feed industry. Why? Because of this. Life cycle analysis is linear. Okay, the farmer prepares the land, fertilizes, plants the seed, irrigates, nurtures the crop, and harvests the grain. Then the grain is used to animal feed. Then the feed is consumed by the animal. And the animal or their products go to industry where it might be processed and meat and goes to cities. Linear. Are feed linear? Nope. You have first the manure of the animal that can go back to, in some cases, as you told, to feed other animals, or you can use to crop the land, or you can have the wheat middlings. Wheat middlings, nobody would eat bread. We need to eat bread, not the animal. Animal eat wheat middlings. Who is the driver? Yes. So, and this circularity is not at the LCA analysis. It's a big fault at the existing methodology. Consequential life cycle analysis, completely different approach. It's no longer linear. It will consider the circularities, or better, it will consider what happens if this way of use changes for another way of use. So what is stated for in this report when they compare LCA to CLCA? The concept of livestock feed with biomass unsuitable for human consumption requires a complete redesign of food system. In this solution, the current LCA results are not valid anymore. It's not me talking, it's FIO talking. CLCA may better evaluate the impact of sector changes on the overall food system, and CLCA provide information about the potential impact of changing the status quo. Simple. Let's suppose that all milk farmers decide we want to lower the carbon footprint of the milk. So everybody will use wheat middlings to produce milk. Pigs has no more wheat middlings for their feed. At the LCA analysis, there is no problem, because you are producing a lower carbon footprint. What happens that I have to use more corn to pig or whatever, give to pig, LCA does not touch on it. CLCA, it does. So it's much more integrated solution. Another issue that our friends from Europe is in some countries are facing, biogas industry are going to slaughterhouses to grab our byproducts to produce biogas. Is that sustainable? You're just producing biogas, the end product. You're not recycling a bit. But if you use LCA, well, the difference is not that big when you don't measure your consequences. And this is the difference among the two tools, which I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to have it really being incorporated in every metrics. It's not easy, it's not simple to be done, but this is much more realistic and much more correct way, because if adopted, the CLCA has the potential to profoundly change the carbon allocation of all feed ingredients classified as unsuitable for human consumption. This is the concept and the beauty about circular bioeconomy. Okay? So, rendered protein, meals, and fats is a vital link for circular bioeconomy of the meat, egg, milk, and fishery supply chains. And sure, we are sustainable and natural resource for pet food, biodiesel, renewable diesel, SAF, oleochemicals, cosmetics, whatever the use it is. Sure. But on the consequential, where you are using your product matters. Okay? So, opportunities and challenges, as stated, sure, these two manuals are huge opportunity for our system, for all feed sector to be really recognized as we are. We use byproduct for vegetables to animal sources product. And sure, the methane guidance will really lower the pressure, I hope so, over ruminants. Not just that. I have a last week. I follow this presentation, I follow this launching of FIO. Really, last Friday they launched this manual regarding addressing sustainable nitrogen management in agri-food system. Look how interesting. It's published, it's the final version. Look how are we? We are in the center of circularity due to WRO work. We are here. And is pet food circularity? No, it's very sustainable, very important partner, but it's no longer, it's not into the circular bioeconomy concept. Okay? So the metrics matter. And we just don't avoid CO2 emissions. We are recycling nutrients. Okay? So what are the challenges? The two challenges that we have to tackle yet. First, transforming LEAP circular bioeconomy concept and metrics into IPCC recommendations for policymakers, and then policymakers translating the new IPCC recommendations into regulations. 4, 5 years, not faster than that. Unfortunately, this is the way it is. But at least we are on the good way. So why? Because we are natural, sustainable, and circular. This is our essence. Thank you so much.
Question for